the story of Mercedes-Benz and Karl Benz. Mercedes-Benz is one of the world's oldest and most luxurious car brands, valued at around $80 billion today. It's known for its high-end, desirable cars, but its beginnings were far more humble. The story starts with a poor engineer, Karl Benz, who faced doubts and setbacks but managed to create the first automobile and build a massive car company in the late 1800s. However, the company's inspiring rise took a dark turn when it profited from supplying vehicles to the Nazis during World War II, using forced labor. Let's dive into the incredible and complex story of Mercedes-Benz and the man who brought cars to life. A humble start. Karl Benz was born in November 1844 in Mühlberg, a small German town. His family was poor. His father, a locomotive driver, struggled to support them. When Karl was just 2, his father died, leaving him and his mother in tough financial times. Despite going to bed hungry some nights, Karl's mother worked hard to ensure he got a good education. Karl showed early talent in chemistry and mechanics. At 15, he passed the entrance exam for mechanical engineering at the University of Karlsruhe, where he studied under Ferdinand Rettenbacher, a professor who believed steam engines used for trains and boats were outdated. This idea sparked Karl's interest in creating a horseless carriage. Karl, a regular bicycle rider, began experimenting with ways to motorize vehicles. Other inventors had tried building self-propelled vehicles, but they relied on steam engines and weren't practical. Guided by Rettenbacher, Karl realized a new approach was needed. Though people mocked his ideas, he stayed determined. After graduating at 19, he worked various engineering jobs for 7 years, learning skills he'd later use. In 1871, at age 27, Karl partnered with mechanic August Ritter to start an iron foundry and workshop in Mannheim. He also worked on his dream of a motorized carriage, but Ritter proved unreliable, and their business struggled when authorities seized their tools. Around this time, Karl met Bertha Ringer, a woman from a wealthy family who became his fiancée. Bertha saw Karl's potential and used her dowry to buy out Ritter's share, giving them full control of the business. Over the next decade, they kept the company afloat. Karl made breakthroughs, including a gasoline 2-stroke engine in 1879. He patented inventions like an engine speed regulator, battery ignition, spark plug, carburetor, clutch, gear shift, and water radiator. These helped his business earn money and brought him closer to his dream. But high production costs forced Karl to turn his business into a joint stock company in 1882, leaving him with only 5% ownership and no say in decisions. Frustrated, he left the company in 1883, Benz and Sire. Leaving his company was tough, but it fueled Karl's determination. He teamed up with Max Rose and Friedrich Wilhelm, who owned a bicycle repair shop in Mannheim, to start Benz & Sie. They focused on industrial machines and gas engines, and the business quickly became profitable with 25 employees. This allowed Karl to focus on his dream, building a car. Instead of adding a motor to a carriage, he designed a vehicle around a gas engine using bicycle-like technology. In 1885, he created the Benz patent motor wagon, a 3-wheeled, 2-seater vehicle with a 1-cylinder, 4-stroke engine producing 2 to 3 horsepower and reaching 7 millimeters. It was considered the first true automobile. Karl unveiled it publicly in 1886, but reactions were mixed. Some admired it, while others feared it might explode or called it an infernal carriage. His business partners saw no value in it, arguing it was no faster than a horse, prone to breakdowns, and needed fuel. Still, Karl believed in his invention and began selling cars in 1888, the first person to do so. His wife Bertha was his biggest supporter, offering ideas and working with him. But the cars were expensive, loud, and messy, appealing only to the wealthy who still needed mechanics on hand for short trips. Karl knew he had to prove the car's potential. The trip that changed everything. In the summer of 1888, Bertha took matters into her own hands. Without telling Karl or the authorities, she took his car and her 2 sons on a 66-mile trip from Mannheim to Pforzheim to visit her mother. No car had ever traveled that far. The journey was tough. Dusty roads, frequent gas stops at pharmacies, and mechanical fixes. But after 12 hours, they arrived safely. Bertha's trip proved the automobile's reliability and got people talking. It brought huge publicity to Benz & Sie, which grew rapidly. By 1890, it was Germany's second largest engine maker, though mostly from selling gas engines, not cars. New partners, Friedrich von Fischer and Julius Ganz, handled business and marketing, letting Karl focus on engineering. He patented innovations like planetary gear transmission, double pivot steering, and a flat engine. In 1893, he launched the Benz Victoria, a luxurious two-seater with a 3-horsepower engine reaching 11 map. It sold well, but the cheaper Benz Velo, introduced later, became the world's first mass-produced car with 200 units made. By the 1890s and early 1900s, Benz and CA was the world's largest car company, the rivalry. Meanwhile, a rival company, Daimler Motorengesellschaft, led by Gottlieb Daimler and Wilhelm Maybach, emerged. Daimler was a competitive engineer with strong business skills. Their first car hit the market in 1892, followed by a 2-cylinder model and the 1897 Daimler Phoenix, a front-engine car. After Daimler's death in 1900, Maybach designed the Mercedes 35 HP in 1901, named after businessman Emil Jelinek's daughter. This car, built for racing, had a powerful engine, wide steel chassis, and low center of mass, resembling modern cars. It reached 56 mprs and won races, boosting Daimler's popularity. They rebranded all vehicles as Mercedes. Benz's partners pushed for a faster car to compete, hiring French designers without Karl's approval. Karl, who disliked racing and preferred safe driving, was upset. The new car flopped, hurting Benz and C's reputation from 1903 to 1904. Karl left the company but stayed on the board. Eventually, he allowed racing, and Benz's 120 horsepower racer 1908 and 200 horsepower Blitzen Benz 1909, which hit 140 mph in 1911, restored the brand's prestige. Both Benz and Daimler enjoyed strong sales until World War I disrupted the economy. Merger and dark times. Germany's loss in World War I caused an economic crisis, hitting both companies hard. In 1924, Benz and Daimler agreed to combine production and marketing to cut costs, but the economy worsened. In 1926, they fully merged into Daimler-Benz, rebranding vehicles as Mercedes-Benz. New models like the Type 630, S, SS, and SSK, designed by engineer Ferdinand Porsche, solidified the brand's reputation. Karl remained on the board until his death in 1929 at age 84, proud of how far cars had come. When Hitler rose to power in 1933, he used German cars to showcase engineering prowess. Daimler-Benz received subsidies for Grand Prix racing, dominating from 1934 to 1939 with models like the W25 and W125, reaching 200 mph. Hitler favored Mercedes-Benz, often using the luxurious Mercedes-Benz 770. But during World War II, the company faced challenges. With demand for civilian cars dropping, they produced military trucks, tanks, submarines, and aircraft engines for the Nazis. By 1942, they stopped making passenger cars entirely. To meet production demands, Daimler-Benz used forced labor, prisoners of war, abducted civilians, and concentration camp detainees, mostly from Eastern Europe. These workers faced brutal conditions monitored by the SS, with many dying from malnutrition, mistreatment, or torture. By 1944, nearly half of Daimler-Benz's 63,000 workers were forced laborers. After the war ended in 1945, the company suffered under the Potsdam Agreement, losing foreign assets and subsidiaries. They had to rebuild from scratch, rebuilding and legacy. In 1946, Daimler-Benz got a production permit from American authorities and began making ambulances, police vehicles, and delivery vans based on the 170V model. They also repaired U.S. military transports. By 1947, they resumed passenger car production, making just 1,045 vehicles that year, but turning a profit by 1948. In the 1950s, Mercedes-Benz regained its strength, excelling in motorsports and global sales. By 1954, the company had earned over $1 billion today. Mercedes-Benz is one of the world's most valuable car brands. Its journey began with Karl Benz, a man who overcame poverty, doubt, and setbacks to invent the automobile. His courage, along with Bertha's bold support, changed the world. Despite the company's dark chapter during World War II, it rebuilt itself into a symbol of luxury and innovation.